Okay, I need to recommend a channel, and this is kind of premature in most cases because it's a launch. She only has 3 videos so far, but I already know it's going to be good. I'm one of the people that uh, suggested to her to do a channel. The channel name is Petra Renatus. Petrarenatus, 2 words. I'm going to go check the spelling of that and put it in the description as soon as I can get to a stopping place here. This is a friend of mine who I met through the channel, and there were a few of us who started emailing each other in a kind of encouraging email chain, 3 of us, for months. And she's been such a support to me. And you know, it's funny, I always give a bunch of shout outs and I never mention these 2 sisters, and maybe because the Lord wants to protect their anonymity. Think about that, because I email them every day, and all my problems and my, their problems, and we are growing in grace together. It's a really good fellowship. But she is articulate, and she's so gentle. She can articulate grace so well, and her gentle spirit. If you like Patrick L., for example, you're gonna love this sister. But also, when I'm just in the middle of her first testimony video, and I can see the loves of the Lord shining on her, you're gonna see that too. That God's love for her, it's real clear, and God protected her from supernatural experiences because she, through teaching, had thought that she needed them to be a legit Christian. And as she's given her testimony, she's talking about, I'm only a little bit into it, but she's talking about how discouraged she got. She didn't think she could serve the Lord. See, the enemy likes to tell you that the Christian life consists of certain things that you don't have, because he wants to checkmate you. And once you're checkmated, there's no option for you but to backslide. And most people that the Lordshippers judge as being, worldly Christians or carnal or compromised are people who were robbed of their crown by false teachings, or robbed of their sense of blessing at least, and found nowhere to turn and no one to help, and no food, and through malnourishment had no choice, and thought God was done with them, and ended up back in the world, not because they wanted to be there, but because there's no way for them to go on until God shows up. And that's what he's doing in this last hour. He is showing up in people's lives and bringing them back to the gospel of grace. And, they've disappeared from the churches, and the churches think, oh, all these people fell away. No, now they're finally getting the help they need, and they're finally getting the food, and they're finally getting the Lord showing up through the Word. We talk about God showed up and became 3-dimensional to me. All I mean is that the Word becomes crystal clear and starts to answer your problems and fill your heart with an affection for Christ and show you how faithful he is and how much assurance you have. And the best candidates for that kind of message are those who have already exhausted their efforts and already know that there's nothing that they can do. Then the gospel is a healing balm. It's an offense to the people who think they can do something, but to the ones who are not self-deceived, actually most of them are hanging around in the world because they know they don't have anything, and yet they've been mishandled, and so now the Lord has some good news for them, and not only that, but he's been working in them the whole time. Anyway, so that's a little tangent. I'm just listening to her testimony, and it's like, most people, when they talk about their testimony, a works person will talk about how they first got saved and committed themselves to the Lord. A grace person, their story will start with their salvation moment or whatever, and then all their wanderings and how the Lord finally showed up and showed them the true grace of God. It's a different flavor. I noticed that because she starts her testimony with, well, my Christian story starts with when I got saved. It's not about the point leading up to it, because most of the things happened after I got saved. And that's right. That's what a grace person will say. Grace person has a continuing story with God. A works person doesn't. It's kind of interesting. That's why their story focuses so much on how they came to their decision to be saved or whatever, And then beyond that, it's all about their efforts, A grace person has more of a story. It's a richer thing. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy this. Again, Petra, renatus, and I'm going to, as soon as I can stop, I'm going to make sure I've got the spelling of the name. But if you type Petra space REN, I bet Google will come up with it for you, or YouTube will. All right, talk to you later.